A federal judge has ruled against Trump in his attempt to freeze Harvard's funding, saying that the government violated the First Amendment in its attempt to combat anti-Semitism. U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs says that the administration was right to combat anti-Semitism and that Harvard had tolerated the behavior. Quote, the record here, however, does not reflect that fighting anti-Semitism was the administration's true aim against Harvard. If it were, combating anti-Semitism cannot be accomplished on the back of the First Amendment, close quote. Obviously, this was going to be appealed. And an appellate court is now allowing the EPA to cancel $16 billion in climate change grants. Remember the Project Veritas video that shows the EPA advisor literally bragging that, well, now that Joe Biden has lost, we're going to funnel all this money out, billions of dollars, before Donald Trump can come in and stop it. Let's hear some of that again. Number 26.
Now we're just having to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and top it up. It truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing gold bars off the top edge.
Who are the gold bars going to?
Nonprofits, states, tribes. We gave them the money because it was harder. If it was a government-run program, they could take the money away if Trump won, and because it was a external policy against Trump winning. Until the Trump people come in and tell us we can no longer give out money. I do environmental, climate, policy things.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Is that stuff is here?
I mean, because I do federal government climate things. Well, I have been doing that. But that might change. But
why?
Because it's tough. So look at the EPA. So a lot is going to change.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I do, the Inflation Reduction Act.
Okay, that's enough. Bottom line is they were literally shoving money out the door under the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which is nothing more than a climate change act. Even Biden later on said we should have called it what it was. And they were throwing money out the door. And Trump clawed some of it back, and this judge now has confirmed Trump's ability to, in fact, do that. Now, another judge, Northern District of California, Court Judge Charles Breyer, has said that Donald Trump has violated the Causa Comitatus Act in his deployment of the National Guard to L.A. in June. And after this ruling came down, Gavin Newsom high-fived and put out a post that said, in all caps, because Trump uses caps, Trump loses again. However, the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney Bill Assaley has said, quote, the military will remain in Los Angeles. This is a false narrative and misleading injunction. The military has never engaged in direct law enforcement operations here in L.A. They protect our federal employees, our properties, and our federal grants so that federal agents, so they can safely enforce federal laws, meaning this is going to be appealed and very likely going to be overturned. Even the CNN legal analyst agrees that the Trump deployment is lawful and will likely prevail in court. Number 19.
This was a setback for Donald Trump today, but temporary and limited in scope. Trump won the big issue, which is whether he could constitutionally send National Guard troops into California in the first place. Today's ruling, Judge Breyer uses to reinforce this fundamental wall of separation that exists in this country between the federal military on the one hand and civilian law enforcement on the other. And what Judge Breyer says today is, okay, fine. He doesn't like the opinion. He got reversed. He doesn't like the fact the National Guard is there, but he says the way they're being used crosses over that wall. They can't be helping with search warrants and arrests and traffic stops and that type of thing. So it puts a limit on what these National Guards can do, clearly with an eye towards Donald Trump's announced intention to send them into other cities.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.